service. What's up, podcast listeners? We are back for another week of the Full Service Podcast. I'm your host, Hank Smith. How's it going, everybody? It's it's Tuesday. I'm 30. What's up? Hey, happy birthday to me. Um, Oh yeah, no thanks. Thanks for being back. It is week number 5. If you've been listening to the podcast since the beginning, I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot. If you're new to this, welcome. Fuck yeah, week 5. You came in on a good week, baby. No, I'm excited for this episode. I don't know if you guys listened to last week's episode with Magic. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to Magic. Shout out to Magic. That was fucking. That was a fun interview. Um, I'll listen to these podcasts. I'll listen to these fucking interviews a lot because I gotta edit them or the editing is. I'm terrible at the editing. It really doesn't happen. It happens a little bit, but so I'll have to listen to these and I listen to that Magic episode a bunch and every time I listen to it, I'm just die laughing throughout it. This shit was fucking hilarious. I don't know if you guys thought it was funny as I did, but I had a good ass time. Shout out to Magic. But we're back. It's episode number 5. I don't have an interview for you today. No interview, but I got one next couple weeks. This episode today is about how to get an escort. So before we go any further, I got a little disclaimer for you guys this week, baby. I'm hitting you with that disclaimer. We'll be right back after this disclaimer. Hey, it's me, Tank Smith, stand-up comedian. Before we go any further, I would just like to add that I'm a stand-up comic. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not an expert in any kind of subject at all, except maybe whistling. I'm a big fan of whistling. I've been doing it for a while. I stopped after me and my ex broke up. That was weird. Kind of crushed me. So I just stopped whistling. But I'm a fan of whistling. If you ask me about that, we could talk about that for a long time. But yeah, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not an expert. I don't suggest anybody break any laws in wherever you live. I don't know where you live. I live in Georgia, and in Georgia, if you pay somebody for sex, that's illegal, and I don't suggest anybody do that. I don't break the law, and I know people listen to the podcast. You also don't break the law. We're all law-abiding citizens here. But yeah, I just wanted to say that before we go forward, I don't want the podcast to be canceled, or I don't know if that. I don't want it to be canceled. I want to keep this thing going. So yeah, that is how I feel. Let's do this thing now. Fuck yeah. Guys, I blacked out for a second. Yeah. What happened? We're back, I guess. Yeah, I guess I had to do that shit. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you guys get it, right? I'm not Dr. Phil. Hey. But thanks for being here. Yeah, this is an episode, yeah, like I mentioned before, on how to get an escort. I realized that before I got into this, I had no fucking clue about anything. I literally Googled Raleigh escorts, and we are here now recording a podcast. A fucking year and a half later, that's how it started for me. And I realized that after talking to people do not know shit about how to get an escort, and also people I'll see posting online talking about getting escorts. I'm like, dog, you're doing this shit all wrong, dog. What are you fucking okay? So no, I feel like if I never, yeah, like I said, I didn't know anything getting into this, and maybe if there was a podcast that I could have listened to make it easier, so that I did not so I kind of knew what I was doing, or not. I felt like I spent a lot of money trying to figure out, I guess, what I was looking for. And maybe if somebody is out there is listening to this and you're like, maybe it helps you, and maybe maybe it helps people that are other providers that get reached out. People reach out to you and they ask you stupid ass questions. Maybe if someone listens to this podcast and then they don't send you those emails, because I can understand that somebody saying hey in a text, is like, what the fuck do I do with that? Like, hey, you avail? Like, what, you up? What is, we can't be doing that shit. We gotta make it, you gotta make it easy as the person you're trying to reach out to as possible in order for them to book you. Because there's a lot of people reaching out, and if you're reaching out and you're just saying hey or what's up, they're not going to see you. They're going to see somebody else who knows how to message them, you know? And so I want the best for everybody, you know? I'm, yeah. So, like I said, yeah, when I got into this, I didn't really know anything. Google was where I fucking, that's literally how it worked for me. You know, I didn't know who to talk to. Um, so I Googled, and I would suggest that you do the same thing. Boom, podcast done. Google, that's it. No. Google escorts in your area, whatever city you're in. Like, I don't know, I live in Atlanta, so for me, I'm gonna Google Atlanta escorts. I lived in Raleigh. I googled Raleigh escorts. It's really that simple. And websites are gonna come up when you when you Google. Websites are gonna pop up, and go through those websites, and you're gonna see ads for providers. Actually, I did a breakdown for websites, because they're not gonna be the same in every city. You know, there's a there's a variance. There's so many fucking websites out there. You know, there's so many websites. I have ones that I like better than others. Um, but yeah, it really depends on where you are, is what websites you're going to even have access to, you know? Because like Eros is a big website, and a lot of people advertise on there, but if you're in like at a more remote location, Eros might not be a thing. I did an interview with Kennedy Stevens earlier this year. She lives in Kentucky, on the border of like Tennessee, Kentucky, and she was saying out there like Skip the Games is the main website in that area. So you're really constrained by what websites providers are advertising on. That's really it. And also Twitter. Twitter's a good resource for sure. I did a, I pulled 8 cities, and I basically did a Google search, escorts in those cities, and I'll give you some of the results just so you can kind of see, what comes up, in each city. I chose ones kind of spread out. I'm going to start with Atlanta. So I googled Atlanta escorts, and if you're looking for in terms of results, the first result was adult search. Then we got Slixa, City Guide, Harlot Hub, and Girl Directory. So those are the top 5 sites in Atlanta if you Google Atlanta escorts. We'll take it up to Raleigh, where I used to live. Number one website, adult search. 2, escort alligator. 3, escort index. 4 is Eros, and 5 is Slixa. You go to the nation's capital, Washington D.C. Shout out to the fucking Nationals in the World Series. I really don't care who wins. Really, just actually, shout out to fucking Jose Andres. I don't know if you live in DC. There's a Mexican restaurant, OUML. I fucking would drive from Raleigh just to go to DC to that Mexican restaurant. Jose Andres, fucking chef. Throwing out a pitch in the World Series. Shout out to fucking Jose, bro. If you live in DC, go to OUML, OUML.com, OYAMEL.com. Go to their fuck. If you, man. They're not a sponsor of the podcast, but goddamn it, go to that fucking Mexican restaurant. It's amazing. So if you're in DC, top five search results, you're looking at adult search. Eros was the second one. Eros was actually the third one. Then you have Slixa and TS escorts. That's DC. If you're in New York City, you're looking at Eros were the first 2. You got City Guide. Adult search was 4. And Slixa was number 5. You're in Los Angeles. Adult Search was number 1. Eros was 2 and 3. Harlot Hub, and then you got Slixa coming at 5 in Los Angeles. We got one listener in Oklahoma City. Shout out to the whoever's in Oklahoma City. I had to do this for them. Number 1 search result in Oklahoma City. You're looking at Adult Search. You got City Guide, Eros, Skip the Games, and Escort Alligator. If you're in Pacific Northwest, shout out to People out there getting rained on. Seattle. First result is adult search. We got Eros coming in at 2 and 3. You got Slixa at number 4. Escort Alligator number 5. And last but not least, Albuquerque, New Mexico. We got some listeners out in New Mexico. What up? How y'all doing? We got number 1, Albuquerque. Skip the Games. Number 2 is Adult Search. Number 3, City Guide. Number 4, Erotic Monkey. And number 5, Harlot Hub. So you got a lot of different websites you're working with. Adult Search looks like they're paying a lot of money for some SEO because it is coming in hot. Adult Search seems to be like the number one. They're on the top, like, yeah, they're on like everywhere. Personally, if you're looking, I live in Atlanta, so I can really only go off what I'm going to use if I'm going to see somebody. I'm a fan of Slixa, Trist. I'll fuck with Eros a little bit. I fucked with it when I was in Raleigh. Um, and I mean, Adult Search a little bit. You got Skip the Games. I fucking skip the goddamn. I don't fuck with Skip the Games. I get a lot of calls from international numbers. I don't know why. I don't even know if it's related to Skip the Games, but I will blame it. I will continue to blame it on Skip the Games. But yeah, if I'm looking at something, my top 4 is probably going to be Eros, Trist, Slixa, and Private Delights. But that's just me personally. But yeah, you're always going to be constrained by the location that you're in. Um, and Twitter is also a great resource. You can look on Twitter for a lot of providers they're active on Twitter, and you can find your city by using hashtags. Hashtag is where it's at. If you're in Atlanta, look up hashtag Date Atlanta, Atlanta Companion. So replace the city for what, like hashtag Date Raleigh. And you'll see providers that are advertising on Twitter. That's another way to find providers as well. But if you're not on Twitter, then Google's what you're going to be doing. Unless you happen to know somebody that I don't know how it works, but yeah, you're going to be using Google. I assume you're going to be using Google, and you're going to be clicking on these websites. And when you do you're gonna see ads. The reason I guess yeah, probably one of the reasons why I don't fuck with Skip the Games is because there's a lot of just like fake ads. And if you if you're looking for an escort right today, right? Say it's Tuesday. I don't know what time you're listening to this. I would say wait. I would say wait and look up a few things before you kind of get into this. I would look up fucking the laws wherever you're at, so you kind of know what you're getting into. Um, and I would do your research on whatever whatever you get into. I would say do your research on who you want to, I guess, see. Um, because a lot of these ads on these websites they're fake ads. They're just ads for you to click on, and then you get a pop up. It's there's a lot of fake ads. So in order to kind of weed through that, you're gonna have to spend some time looking this shit up on Google. That's really the only that's the only thing I can tell you. Um, so say you find an ad that you see an ad. Um, they have pictures. They they have like how much it costs for an hour, or whatever their time scale is, and you kind of want to know. You see this ad, and you're like, hey, is this real or not, or is this like a catfish thing? Um, I would say Google the telephone number, Google the email address, um, because most providers are not advertising just on one single site. You know, they'll advertise on multiple sites because it's all about search engine optimization. I don't know if I said that right. SEO. Um, they want to you want to come up as much as possible so people can book you. That's how it is. Same thing with stand up. If somebody Googles Tank Smith, I want them to come up, not this septic tank cleaning service based out of, I don't know, somewhere else. I want I want when when somebody Googles TankSmith, I want my name to come up, so people can see my comedy. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as an escort. I feel like if you're putting your ad, you want to get people to see you so that you can get booked, so you can make money. That's how it works. Um, so most likely, um, providers are going to be advertising on multiple websites. Look at the ads on the websites. Make sure they're even the same, because you will see copycat people taking other people's pictures and using like fake ads and stuff. So you really do want to do your research. Like that's, I did an episode with Daisy. I haven't released it yet. It was like actually the like second interview I did ever. Um, but one of the biggest points she made was do your research when you're doing this. Same thing with Stina. If you listen to the Stina episode, she said the exact same thing. It's like do your research on whatever provider you're going to see. So you're Googling their telephone number, you're Googling email address they have in the ads, see what other ads come up, and see like, okay, this person advertises on a whole bunch of different websites. So the likelihood that this person is real is high. Also, post frequency. If you see someone posting ads, kind of like daily, then okay, this person is not obviously not posting these ads from jail, or what like they're the the post frequency they're posting, they're in person, they're they're legitimate, you know. Um, but then again, I do understand that there are a lot of fake ads out there. I don't really know what they're really trying to get other than like I'm gonna pop up and I'm click. I don't really get it. Um, yeah. Um, when you see an ad, I would say a way to spot a fake ad is like a lot. I don't know. I don't fuck with explicit language in ads when someone's like, if I see an ad that says a blowjob costs this much, I'm not gonna. That to me feels like a trap. Um, so I'm not gonna do that. Also, I'm not a fan of emojis. A lot of people have emojis in their ads. I'm just like, I just don't like emojis like that. But that's just me personally. Emojis are cool, but I don't fuck with emojis like that. Um, but I do feel like Twitter is a great resource. I know I mentioned it kind of before, but go on Twitter. A lot of providers have Twitters, and they're active on Twitter. And so you can find a lot of people. You can just find just based off of Twitter. You don't even. Some people don't. Like they'll advertise on a few websites, but they're most active on Twitter. And just seeing that, you're like, okay, this is a legitimate provider. Um, I really shouldn't have anything to worry about. And also, they're putting yourself out there when you do have a Twitter, because you're held responsible to the Twitter community at large. It feels like that at least. I know so many sex workers have Twitter accounts, and the community supports each other, but they also kind of like call each other out when they feel like somebody is doing something that they shouldn't be doing, because it essentially does hurt the rest of providers. Like I saw something a couple months ago, I think on Twitter, where basically this guy said he gave a deposit to a lady. She ended up canceling the appointment and didn't want to give his deposit back. And then this person goes on Twitter, kind of lets everyone know what the situation was. And then people went to this provider and it's like, hey, you can't essentially do that. This person got his money back, and I guess the situation was rectified. But like that's an example. Like she's held accountable for that, by the rest of the community. Like it's like same thing essentially with comedians. I feel like for the most part, comedians kind of support each other. And then when somebody does something super fucked up, everyone's like, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. You're making the rest of us look bad." Um, it's easy. But yeah, if you do have a Twitter account, you are putting yourself out there to be held responsible to more than just like a few people. But you are able to like kind of brand yourself even more so than looking at just somebody going to your website. Because somebody, you can read something on a website, but with Twitter, you can kind of get their personality and like what they like and shit. I mean, it's cool. So if you don't have a Twitter, um, I highly suggest it for sure. If you're kind of looking for an example of like, oh, who Okay, I'm looking at a Twitter. How do I know it's legit or not? I know if you I think of a provider. I guess if Stina was on the podcast. If you're not following Stina on Twitter, what are you doing? Stina Valentine, give her a follow. But you look at she posts pictures. She has her website. She has so many resources up, and you're like, okay, this is a legitimate provider. You know, this is somebody I can see. Another example, Heather Riley, based out of Chicago. She has Twitter, she has Snapchat, and she's posting on there a lot. So you can kind of see like this is a legitimate person. I shouldn't I shouldn't have any qualms, you know. Her account's the Heather Riley on Twitter. Yeah, follow her. But yeah, you can see like, okay, this person, this is an honest, legitimate provider just based on the content that they're posting, you know. So yeah, Twitter's a great resource. If you don't have one, go get yourself a Twitter. What are you doing? And if you're like Tank, bro, dude, guy, I'm 75 years old. I'm not gonna get a Twitter. Well, what I say to you, sir, madam, is you don't need Twitter. There's emails. There's emails. You can send an email. So once you kind of figure out like who you want to see, based on looking up their information. They're on several websites, I would say. This person may even have reviews. There are review websites out there. I'm not going to talk much about them today. I'll probably do that in another episode. There are lots of review websites. I've spoke to a lot of providers about this. Some like reviews. Some don't like reviews. Yeah, everyone's different. So everybody has their preference. I feel like as a client or someone who's gonna see see a provider, I feel like reviews are helpful. You also have to understand that the person writing the review might not be 100% factual, or their experience might not be the same experience that you have. It's everybody's completely different, you know, like just like every experience with somebody is going to be different, you know. Just because this happened with one person doesn't mean it's going to happen with you. It's everything's going to be different, you know. But I do feel like reviews are helpful. I saw something on Twitter the other day. It's like yesterday. This guy's like, I don't read reviews. I'm like, all right, dog, that's good. That's good that you don't read reviews. Um, but yeah, I think they can be. I'll see some reviews and I'm like, God damn, bro, that fucking review, dude. What are you doing, bro? That review is terrible. Just like some reviews are just like, wow, I can't believe you actually sat down and fucking wrote that. I'll see some reviews that are super long. I'm like, why are you writing books out here, dude? We got shit we got to do. Um, but yeah, but there's also providers that are not going to have reviews, you know. So it's really sometimes it's not a factor at all. And like I said, every review is written by somebody who's human, and that review could be 100% horseshit. But it's really just a numbers thing, I guess. What am I fucking talking about? But no, once you kind of have the provider you want to see, you've looked up like their ad, like I said. They're kind of on multiple platforms. You've looked in what their ad says. Like I said, I'm not really gonna go like if it says like stuff like super explicit. I'm kind of wary of that, you know. And then also having a website helps. So many providers have websites, and I feel like it does definitely help legitimize you. But I know plenty of people that don't have websites and they're amazing. So you do you. What am I talking about? Well, no. Once you'll see on their ad, once they post like how they want to be contacted. Some people are like, "Hey, only hit me up when you're ready to see me." You know. Other people, because there's going to be a screening process. This it's not you're going to just call somebody and then you're going to go right over there. There's going to be a screening before you can see somebody, and that varies from person to person. Some people they want to talk with you on the phone. You know, they want to get a feel of what you're like, what get a vibe from you. Some people their screening process is going to be I'm going to need references from a previous person you've seen. Some people want multiple references from people that you've seen. Some people might want your LinkedIn account. Um, some people might want your ID, But basically, it all depends on who you're seeing and what their screening process is. Like I said, everybody's different, and you know what what you did for one person might not. They might have a different set of standards than somebody else, and it's all on them. But no matter what their screening process is, you have to abide by the screening process. That's key, or else you're never gonna get a reply back. I know when I was a lot of the like I'll reach out to people mainly for the podcast via email, and some people you can't send them an email or you can't text them, so the only choice you have is to fill out the screening form on their website, which I can understand. Sometimes it can be like a long form with a lot of information to fill out, like hey, name, age, what city you want to see me in, what date, the time, like a lot of information. And I didn't have a job for a while, so I've been filling out fucking job applications for a motherfucker for like the past like couple months. And so it can feel like that, but you got to understand that if you want to see this person, then you're gonna have to do whatever they want in order for that to happen. Because they have a screening process for a reason. This reason is to stay safe. Nobody, you, they don't know who you are. You could be anybody. So they have to screen people in order to make sure that that, yeah, that they're safe and that they trust you as a person. And so once you go kind of like through screening, I'll see stuff online. A lot of people have issues with sending people IDs or, personal information about them. But like I said, Stina talked about it in her episode too. It's all like, well, if you do your research and you kind of see like, hey, this is a legitimate ad I'm looking at. This is a legitimate person. I know that as a provider, they're a trusted person, and I feel comfortable seeing them. Then I think that me personally, I will send an ID to somebody. I'll send them my LinkedIn. I don't have an issue with that, but I can understand having hesitancy. But I would say do your research on the provider that you're gonna see. That's the fucking that's the key to everything. But yeah, once you contact them, when you're reaching out to somebody, um, don't send them like hey or what's up or you avail or you like don't when you're reaching out to somebody, if you've already completed their screening on their form or however you do the screening, and you're reaching out to this person for the first time, um, let them know a little bit about you. Be like, hey, my name is X. I saw. Let them know where you saw your ad, where you saw their ad. I feel like that's super helpful, so they can kind of know um, where you're coming from. Like if I was gonna do it, I'd say, hey, my name is Tank. I'm a stand-up comic from Atlanta. You can add that occupation shit if you want. Whatever, fucking do whatever you want. But yeah, I'll be like, hey, I'm Tank. I'm a comic from Atlanta. I saw your ad on Trist. I wanted to reach out to see if you're available at this time for a 2 hour appointment or whatever. Looking at me balling out too, you know? And so basically, in that first message, they get an idea of who you are. If you can string some sentences together, that's helpful, it's, it's nice, yeah. Fucking be cordial. Don't be like, hey, can we fuck now? What the fuck are you doing? No one's gonna respond to that. So yeah, just send them an intro email. Let them know when you want to meet, for how long. Don't say anything explicit. Whatever message you're sending, you're saying, hey, I like book an hour appointment at this point at this place. There's nothing wrong with that because you're not paying for any kind of sex thing. That's not where you're paying to hang out with somebody. You're paying to spend an hour with somebody. That's all you're doing. You're not paying for any kind of act or anything. You're paying for a time to hang out with somebody. That's key right there. But yeah, when you reach out, you want to give them all the information up front so that they don't have to come back to you with 1,000 questions and then they reply with another question because you're not the only one reaching out to this person, right? there's so many people that are reaching out to them saying the same shit that you're saying. Like, hey, are you available? Can we meet? Like, it's if that's where you want to take the path of least resistance, you know? Like if you hit them with all the information up front, hey, I'm this. I want to meet you for this amount of time on this date. And they're like, okay, let's move from there. Do you have screening? Do you have what they want for screening? They'll ask you for that, whether that be a phone call or any information about yourself. You provide it. Some people provide it in the initial email. Some people provide it in a follow up. It really depends on the provider. And what their methods are for, I guess, contacting somebody. But yeah, it's super simple. You know, you're reaching out to them, giving them all the info. They're coming back to you with screening. You provide the screening info. If you are, do not want to screen, you know, you're like, I don't feel comfortable screening. I don't want this person to know who I am. Then, uh, then you're not going to see that person. That's pretty much simple. That's if you're not gonna you know, follow their rules or what they have for each person they see, then you're not going to see that person. If you're like, I want to provide you this information, but I just can't. Just know that then you're not going to be able to see them. And that's just how it is. You know, everybody's different. Um, but yeah, you won't be able to see them. Um, Another thing I would say is if you're reaching out to somebody and you're like, I know that I can't, like, say for an example, someone's like $300 an hour, right? And you have $200, right? And you're like, man, I wonder if they'll take. I mean, 200 is still a good amount of money. You think they'll take the 200 versus the 300? You know, what I would say to that is take your money and go see somebody else. Because it's insulting. You're the first thing. It's just insulting to somebody, you know? It's like they're telling you, "Hey, this is how much it costs to hang out with me." And you're saying, "But I don't think that's right. You know, I think it should be less, you know?" And they're not it's not just don't do that, you know? It's not a good look. You're starting like I'll do comedy for fucking not very much money. I drove 2 hours a couple weeks ago for like $10 and some like chicken fingers. You know, that's what comedy's like. Um, but I feel like if somebody's asking me to do a lot of time, you know, like on Friday, I did the show in like Burlington last week, and I did 20 minutes, you know. And if I say, hey, I need at least like $50 or whatever, arbitrary amount of money for this amount of time that I'm doing for this comedy show, and then I get to the show and someone's like, "Hey, I can only give you $10." I'm fucking insulted as a person that's about to go do this. Like, why would I fuck? Like, obviously you don't value me if you're just gonna give me $10 for this thing where initially like I set it at 50. You know, I'm like already going into it like, well, fuck, I don't want to do this thing. But also I'm a little bit more. I'm this is an example, but it's not. It doesn't line up because I mean I'm still gonna do the show, and like I'm not gonna turn it down. I'm already there in the situation, you know. But in in terms of seeing an escort, they're not gonna fucking just don't do it. You know, it's a bad look, and I guarantee you they won't fucking see you again for sure. You know, like you might be like, oh man, yeah, I saw them, but yeah, they're not gonna see you again. Um, so don't do that. Definitely like and just don't fucking they have a price, pay the price. If you can't pay the price, then you got to go somewhere else. That's how it works. I feel like I just sound angry in this. I'm like, you motherfuckers. No, but I'm trying to help you out. Maybe I'm just getting old. You know, I'm fucking 30 now. I'm getting ornery in my old age. I'm actually 29. I'm recording this on Friday. My birthday's tomorrow. But when you're listening to this, hey, I'm 30. What's up? Hey. Um, but yeah, you've contacted them. You've passed the screening. You set up the appointment and you're going to meet this person, right? First thing you're going to want to do if you are on the way to meet somebody, most, in my experience, pretty much everybody I've seen has had condoms. Um, and so I would say you don't need to bring them. I know in the last episode I was talking to Magic. I asked her, I was like, should dudes bring condoms? She said, yeah. I mean, you can if you want. It's always good to have a back. Like if for some reason they don't have condoms or something, then yeah, bring them. But it's really for the most part, every single person I've seen has had condoms. Um, Shower. Fucking take a goddamn shower. Scrub fucking everywhere. That's hygiene is key. You know, you got to be fucking wash up, dude. Um, and if you're coming straight from somewhere else, and a lot of people allow you to use their shower. If you know you're not gonna be able to shower before seeing somebody, be like, hey, can I shower when I get there? You know, I'm just coming from this. I need a shower, and they'll be more than happy. Because nobody fucking wants your fucking smell ass dick, bro. Fucking shower, okay? Um, and yeah, just shower, and then when you get over there, um, wherever you're going. They'll tell you the location. A lot of times it'll. Sometimes if you're going to a hotel or something, they'll tell you the hotel. When you get there, they'll give you the room number. Go up to the room. It's super simple. It's not it's really not bad. You're showered. You're good to go. When you get in there, I would say put the money down immediately. Or put the donation down. So they have that, and then you hang out and shit. It's a good time. Um, One thing I would say, you're not when you're going to meet somebody, you're not in you're not in control of the session. You know, it's not they're like the person you're going to see. They're going to dictate how the session goes. You know, because they're yeah, they're gonna dictate that. And I would say don't try to be like, oh, I need to let's do this fucking thing. I don't know, dog, chill, bro. And definitely don't fucking act like I mean, don't ask to do anything unprotected, like in terms of P and VG. Don't do that. You know, they will not. They'll be like, okay, we're fucking done. Don't fucking you. That is the ultimate lack of fucking respect. Um, don't ask them for that. You know, because they'll tell you no, and then they'll never see you again. You know, I'm not gonna see somebody that doesn't respect the rules that I have, and is not gonna is gonna try to put my health at risk, also their health at risk, and doesn't really care about the fact that I'm not gonna do that. Um, so yeah, just don't do that. Um, and then just relax and have fun. You fucking came there to have fun with somebody. Do that. Have fun. Um, but yeah, and then once your time's up, however much time you scheduled for, it's time to go. Don't try to hang out and be like, hey, but let's hang out for like a little bit long. Like, no, your hour's up. You're 2 hours up. You're 3 hours up. If you're a baller, but yeah, you gotta. It's time to go. Let's leave. Also, just don't. Also, I'd say don't try to find out. Like, you're not. It's just work for somebody. This is how they make money. It's not how they make friends. You can't be. I mean, people become friends with people all the time. But this whole like, let's be friends outside of this, and let's hang out, and let's do this. Like, just if they want to do that, they'll tell you that. But for the most part, I would say don't don't be like, hey, what's your actual name? Like, what's your don't that's just be cool, dude. Just be cool. That's gonna be the name. That's gonna be the name of this episode. I don't think it's gonna be the name of the episode, but yeah. I will add too. Also, I should have probably added at the beginning. Um, I would say try to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. I don't know if this is even the right place or like, oh hey, it's me, Tank. let's sit down and let's get to the root of why you do what you do. Um, but yeah, it definitely helps. It definitely helps understanding why you're doing what you're doing. Because I feel like there's plenty of times where I saw somebody and then I was like, I just needed to go to therapy. I think I just needed to talk to somebody. I think was really what I was searching for. Um, but I didn't realize it at the time. Um, so yeah, I would say before you really do anything, just look at yourself and be like, hey, why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? And kind of make sure you're doing it for the right reason, and of course, everyone's reason is going to be different, for sure. Everybody's different. But yeah, I would say ask yourself kind of why you're doing what you're doing. Um, and then make sure you're safe. That's another magic mention that a bunch. Just fucking be safe out there. Um, but yeah, my biggest I guess bit of advice I would say is do your research on whoever you're gonna see. Um, Find an ad that you're like, oh man, I like this person. I think I'm gonna see him. You find their ad on a few different websites. Maybe they have a Twitter. Then you reach out to them and be like, hey, I want to schedule an appointment for this time, this amount of this date, this amount of time. When they get back to you, they'll ask for a screening. Provide that screening. Super easy. They'll get back to you and be like, okay, let's do it. Um, Once you get there, make sure you're showered or use the shower. Put the money down on the table, and then you hang out. It's a good time. Don't ask them to do anything that they're uncomfortable with, and don't expect this person to just. It's a person you're seeing. That's the it's a person you're seeing, and they're doing an amazing service for you and for everyone else. And I think just respect that. This person has a life outside of this. They're not. This is not all that they are. Um, they have families. They have their relationships. It's a fucking person you're seeing. It's not That's what it is. So respect that shit. Um, and yeah, just fucking be cool, dude. It's not that if you're like, Tank, what's cool? Just fucking be nice, be cordial. Fucking, how's it going? Like, just, be a nice person. I don't know if that's, maybe it's hard for some. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, my fucking self esteem makes me be nice to people or something. Just be cool. But yeah, I might have left shit out. If you felt like, God damn it, Tank, you left so much stuff out of this episode. I thought it was gonna be great, but you glossed over everything. Um, right to the podcast, and I'll share it. I'm trying to share all the good advice that I get. If you want to look on Twitter, there's this dude Rover. Let me look up what his Twitter handle. I think it's like ROVERR 777. Um, is that right? Oh, what the fuck? He used to have this thing on his Twitter where it was basically no, it's still up there. What am I fucking doing? It's a ROVERR 777. His pinned tweet is basically clients. What advice would you give to kind of like your younger self when you're starting out? So I feel like it's actually a good Twitter chain. There's a lot of good advice on there. So I'd so go check that out. Go check out that tweet. It's informative. I think what I did today. I don't know how helpful it is. Maybe it was helpful. Maybe it wasn't helpful. Maybe I sound angry. I don't really know. Maybe it's the moon. I don't know. But yeah, this has been episode 5, baby. We're coming at you next week. I got an awesome interview. Alexis Reynolds, she's based out of like Augusta. She's from Macon, South Carolina. But she travels all over the East Coast. We have a great conversation. It's a lot of fun. I'm super excited for this interview. Um, yeah, it's a fun one. Um, Headed to you. Okay, I just gotta text from my weed guy. He's coming through, so I gotta go. But no, I appreciate you listening to the podcast. This has been episode 5. We're on all the goddamn platforms. We just got. I know I've been saying iHeartRadio for a little while, but we actually just got on that like last week. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio. We're on SoundCloud. We're on everywhere where you can get a goddamn podcast signal, you know? Subscribe to the podcast. Rate the podcast. That would be amazing if you could do that. Write us a review on Apple Podcasts. I got a review recently. I was like, man, that was so nice. Well, no, I appreciate you listening. Tell your friends. Tell everybody you know. We're trying to spread the word on this podcast. We're doing it. But no, I appreciate you listening, and this has been episode 5. I'm Tank Smith. This is a Full Service Podcast. Later. Full Service.